Hey everyone, welcome back to another lesson. So in this one, we're going to solve another problem or another bug, essentially, or fix another bug and learn something more interesting. All right. So, from time to time, whenever when you write your code, you're going to come across a type of bug that is not always reproducible. Right? For example, we are familiar when we have an error in our code, like we see a big red line and it's just going to, cause a problem, right? Or basically doesn't compile. Or there could be another situation where, we create a bug that it's just like it's gonna prevent the program from working down the road, which is what we actually talked about, in the previous video, right? So like we had this issue where we were not even reaching this number, so like we would not actually display this text. So it's just like the program was running, right? But it just wasn't working. But anyway, so that's that's what we talked about. But let's say there are some bugs that are going to be produced over time. Essentially, when you compile your code in the beginning, they're not going to show themselves. They're just going to appear that everything's working. The code's going to be working and everything's going to be fine. But then when you actually look at it over time, you're going to realize, okay, there is a problem with the program. So what is this? So I'm going to again go back to this file that we have. And again, I'm going to comment out this code by, pressing Control/. And again, this is the code that we worked on in the previous lesson, right? And I'm going to select this code, reproduce debug code, and I'm going to Control/, this one more time, or Command/ in Mac. And it's going to, show us this code. So this is the code that we're going to be working on. So let's take a look at this code and explain really what is this. So if I run this code essentially is going to pick a random number and going to basically pick one of these dice images, right, from this list, right? So just like that, again, if I run this, we're going to see this number 6, for example, right? Cool. And if I run this one more time, again, we're going to see the 4. So it seems to be working. There's nothing wrong with this. But let's actually keep running this and see if we can come across this code here. And this is what I mean by the types of errors or, debugging errors that you're going to see after running the code for a while because they don't immediately show themselves. Let's actually see if I can actually show this to you guys. There you go. So that's the, bug that we're talking about. So the error that we're getting, it says list index out of range. So what is this exactly? So essentially, if you think about it, this is essentially telling us that the number that we're referring to or the item that we're referring to in this list does not exist, right? But this can't be right because we're actually getting all the numbers, and it should be working. So what is this problem? So let's think about this. So I want you to think about how you can actually solve this problem. Really, what is the problem here? And, how you can actually correct this. And one of the things I want you to think about is how you can reproduce the bug. So let's just pause the video for a second and think about how you can fix this problem. All right, so hopefully you were able to, take a look at it and figure out what I mean by reproducing the bug. So the idea with this is that when you get something like this, what you want to do is you want to just reproduce this manually to see what is the problem. So we got again a random a module. There's nothing wrong with that. Then we got the images, so this is our list. So again, nothing wrong with that. And so we got the numbers here. And what are we doing is that this variable is essentially we're telling this variable that you're going to generate a number between 1 and 6. Now if you remember, this random integer, right, is just basically it generates a number between two values. So a, b, including both endpoints. Take a look. So if I hover on it, it's going to tell us random integer returns random integer in range a, b, including both endpoints. So that means 1 and 6. All right. So what is the problem here? Let's actually take this out real quick, and I'm going to replace this with actual numbers, and we'll find the problem. All right. So I'm just gonna put 6. All right. So if I run this, there you go, and there you go. So this is when we get the problem, right? So we get the 6. All right. So this is again the error that we produced, list out of range. Perfect. So if I do this again, I'm just going to try every number here. 5 works, 4 works, 3 works, 2 works, right? So this should work as well, and 1 works. All right. So it seems to be working, but again, we are actually having an issue with this particular problem. So this is, so far we know this section, this area is the problem of this code. So what is the problem here? So if you remember, the problem actually occurs in the next line. So where we're actually printing this value, so we're printing this dice image, and what we're doing is that we're referring to this list using the index, right? So like we're referring to this, again, we got the brackets here, so we got our variable, and then we got a bracket. Inside this bracket we got a number. Now here's the problem. The problem is that essentially when you're referring to a list, you know, inside these brackets, when you're actually using the index numbers start from 0. Right? So if you think about it right now, at this point, we're never going to get the number 1 dice here, like this item. So if I run this, no matter how many times I run this, we're not going to be getting the number 1. Why? Because we're generating a number between 1 and 6, right? So that doesn't make any sense because, well, first of all, we're not going to get 0, so because the first item of this index, this list, is 0, right? So this is not by number, by position. If you remember, when you actually look through a list, the list starts from index 0, and then you got 0, 1, 2, 3, right? So essentially, if you want to like associate these numbers with this list, this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5. So we have the wrong range of numbers here. So to fix this, what we need to do is, first of all, we need to start from 0, and we need to go to 5, not 6. So that way we refer to the correct numbers or correct, you know, index numbers within this list, right? So now if I run this, this is not going to be a problem. This is going to run consistently because, again, if I actually replace this with a 0, it's going to run, like, show us number 1. Great. And if I actually replace this with 5, it's going to show us number 6 here. There you go. So that actually means that our problem is solved, and the problem was that we were referring to the wrong numbers in this based on the list that we have here. So that's how we fix this problem. And again, the thing is that, as I said, the idea with this is to remember that when you come across something like this where it just seems right in the beginning, but when you run the code over and over and you just producing this bug, what you need to do is that you need to actually try to reproduce the bug. So you try to actually, you know, replace this stuff with actual numbers and values and see, okay, where is the problem occurring, to find out exactly how you can fix it. So in this case, we replace this actual thing with numbers to find out, okay, so what is the problem and we realize that, okay, we're referring to the wrong range here. So instead of, like, you know, 1 to 6, we need to refer to from 0 to 5, and we choose a random number using the random integer, and then we put it right here in this, you know, print function. So just like that, we fixed it. So I hope this made sense, guys. Let me know if you have any questions, and try to practice this by yourself as well, you know, and I hope it made sense and you understood it. But if not, you can always contact me with any questions that you have. All right, so let's go over the next video where we talk about a little bit more complicated problems. So I'll see you in the next one.